All right, so the question we're asking today is, should I buy an investment property in the state of California? What is an investment property? An investment property is a real estate purchase where you have the intention of earning an income, either through rental income or through the resale of the property, or both. You could obviously have both. The state of California is one of the greatest states in our union, and I personally think that this is one of the best states to buy an investment property, whether you are looking to short-term rent it, long-term rent it, or buy a fixer, fix it up, and resell it at a profit. Let's talk about short-term and long-term rentals. So everybody's heard of Airbnb and VRBO and some of these other platforms. There's a lot of pros and cons to each. Some of the pros of a long-term rental are you'll have a little bit more stability. You'll know your renters, you'll have stability, you'll know you'll have an income every month if you have a good tenant. And some of the positives of a short-term rental are, you get higher premiums, you can charge more per night, you can have more flexibility, there's potential to make more money per month. There's also a potential to make no money per month. Depending on, this possibly if you're in a seasonal market where you have certain times of the year where it might be a little bit more popular. Maybe more people are renting in the winter because they want to ski. That's a question that you have to ask yourself as you're building out your business plan. Now, it's obviously a very big state, so where do you invest in the state of California? The 10 best places to buy a long-term rental property in the state of California are San Diego, Oakland, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, Long Beach, Sacramento, Bakersfield, and Fresno. The 10 best places to buy a short-term investment property in the state of California are San Francisco, Lake Tahoe, San Diego, Los Angeles, Anaheim near Disneyland, of course, Big Bear, Santa Barbara, Joshua Tree, Palm Springs, and Yosemite. There's a lot of great cities depending on what your business plan is. Obviously, those are very high value areas in terms of buying a property. There are plenty of other options. I have more options, so reach out to me. I'm happy to do the research with you. And I've done my own research, but trying to keep it tight here for this video. Before you buy an investment property, do your due diligence, do the research, prepare. Talk to your realtor, talk to other investors who are in the area, look at the rental market, look at the home values, watch the interest rates, all important factors in what your return will be, what your income will be from that piece of property purchase. And make sure that you do all your due diligence before you actually purchase that property. This is something that you can do with your realtor. Get a good inspector out there and check everything. Are there major renovations? Have you done the right inspections of your property to know what sort of repairs you're going to be running into? Is the roof done? Is the plumbing up to date? Is the electrical up to date? These are all things that are really important. What sort of rent do you need in order to cover your operating costs? What are your operating costs? Operating costs include your mortgage, if you have HOA, your property taxes, insurance, future repairs, upkeep, gardener, utilities. These are all things that you're going to have to pay monthly, and will that rental income cover that? And will you also make a profit? You're going to need to get a loan most likely for that income property, and if you are trying to go through a lender, there's going to be a little bit more stricter guidelines with an investment property. You might also have a higher interest rate than you would if you were buying your primary residence. So keep that in mind. Set up a contingency fund. This might be a production term. We always had to put away, between 5% and 10% of our total budget for those emergencies. Anything can happen, right? I mean, we just had a potential hurricane / tropical storm in Los Angeles County and had 2 days of intense rain. There was a leak in my roof, so guess what? My landlord had to come out and fix the roof. So those are the things that are going to come up. They're going to be last minute, and they're going to be expensive most likely. So always have a fund set aside with money that is ready to go in those emergencies. Maybe your HOA has an assessment where HOA all of a sudden slaps you with a $7,000 bill for a new roof for the whole condo complex. These things happen and you need to be ready for them at all times. Also, the tax benefits are incredible for rental properties. As an investment property owner who has renters, you can write off the interest on your principal. You're going to get a 1098 form from your lender, and that's going to tell you exactly how much interest you paid that year. You hand that right over to your tax consultant, and that will be a write-off, a deduction from any profits you made that year. Property taxes are also a tax deduction, which is really nice. They do cap it though at $10,000, something that I disagree with. I think it should be more, especially in the state of California, where home prices and home values are going up and people are paying a lot in property taxes. But that is the law right now. Another positive to having a rental investment property is you can write off depreciation on the home. This is something that's a little bit complicated to explain and figure out, so I would recommend talking to your tax consultant about that, but they do write off depreciation over time, so that's kind of a nice thing that you will see come back to you on your taxes. And let's also talk about repairs. So if you do repair some element of your home, let's call it a dishwasher that went out, a dryer, the HVAC system needs to be replaced or added, air conditioning, any and one of those things, those are tax deductions if you hold on to those repair receipts. And I would also hold on to them over time because that could come back to you in the resale of your home. Keep those receipts to offset capital gains on the sale of your home, but also annually you can write off those repairs. Again, talk to your tax consultant. Every year it changes, so please make sure you do your due diligence on that. Oh, and I should also mention the travel to and from your investment property. This is a business, so those kinds of expenses you should be keeping track of. That will come out as a tax deduction at the end of the year. There are a lot of laws around short-term rentals. For example, in the county of Los Angeles, you do have to get a permit from the city. You are going to have to pay a transient tax. So these are some of the things that you need to research before you do invest. That's very important. And if you have any questions, I will be doing another video on short-term rentals and how to get those permits, especially in the county of Los Angeles. So look out for that. So there's a lot of benefits to having a rental property. When you buy a rental property and you rent it out, you hopefully will be making a little bit of a profit each month. So you could be setting that aside into your account, keeping in mind you want to save for your contingency fund, your emergency fund. You also are probably going to have to collect a security deposit from your renters, so that should also be a place where that security deposit is held, because you will have to give that back if the property is in good standing when the tenant moves out. I look like I'm between two ferns right now. This is not a comedy show with Zach Galifianakis, okay? This is real estate with Jessica Pace. Since 2019 in the state of California, the average home has gone up about a little over 17% according to Zillow, which is pretty incredible. Now that all sort of came to a halt in this last year as interest rates have crept up due to the ongoing inflation issues that we're dealing with. But in the state of California, in 2023, we're down 3.4%. So considering all those upticks over the last few years, 3.4% down is not bad considering what's going on in other parts of the country. All right, so did I convince you that the state of California is a great place to buy an investment property? I hope I did, because it is.